the 2021 Ford Edge with 0% financing for 60 months plus $1,000 bonus cash.
Tonight at 11, the power of the ocean. CAL FIRE CZU comes to help rescue 2 fishermen who got swept into the water at a state beach.
Thank you for watching KION TV, KMUVLD, Monterey Salinas.
It was just incredible. I've never seen anything like that before.
Today's business is just going to suffer.
We're here watching the tides coming in and out, highest we've ever seen here.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Now, an underwater volcano erupted in Tonga earlier today, triggering tsunami warnings, advisories, and even beach closures across multiple continents, including right here on the Central Coast. Our chief meteorologist, Dan Cianca, has more on where the tsunami waves are exactly coming from.
A massive explosive eruption occurred from a volcano in the South Pacific island nation of Tonga Friday evening, California time. Most of this volcano is underwater, so the eruption displaced a large quantity of water, spawning tsunami waves that inundated Tonga's capital city of Nuku'alofa and crossed the Pacific all the way to the U.S. west coast. Unlike wind waves or ocean swells generated by storms, tsunami waves are broad, powerful waves. They may lack the visible height of normal ocean waves, but the energy allows them to push deep into harbors and other places waves don't normally reach.
All right, everyone, let's check in this evening with Weather Authority Erica Brattine. And you've been tracking a lot of this all day, Erica, but some positive news. We did just receive that advisory is now non-existent.
Yes, good news across the board, at least for the Central Coast. We've seen our tsunami advisory expire, I should say. And actually, this started just to the north of us, around the Davenport area, up into the San Francisco area. We actually saw this cancellation come at 7:30 a.m. For us locally, that came about an hour later, let me go backwards here, at 8:30 p.m. our time. So there we go. I'm trying to get my clicker here to work. So we saw that cancellation 8:30 our time. And then we, just to the south of us in San Luis Obispo County, we still have that tsunami advisory down there. So I just want to just tell you that to be extra cautious out there. Make sure, even if you're heading to the beach tomorrow, to just watch your back and don't turn your back to the sea, actually. Just make sure that you use caution, because large lingering waves could still be out there. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is that we were not in a warning today. We are actually in an advisory all day. So a warning is a little bit different from an advisory. The tsunami for a warning is imminent, so it's going to happen. Those waves are going to surge inland. The wave heights are usually greater than 3 feet, or they can be unknown in that warning. And usually when you have that warning, immediate action is needed. So evacuations, get to higher ground immediately. They're coming, again, those waves are coming in. Now the advisory is a little different. These are usually strong currents and dangerous waves, which is what we saw around our coastal location today, especially up in the Santa Cruz Harbor. Down the coast, even in Monterey, we started seeing some of those waves push into the area. Again, so these waves are in or near coastal locations. Again, what we saw, wave heights can be anywhere from 1 to 3 feet. And so what we were cautioning everyone to do today was just stay out of the water, especially boaters. Make sure you are away from that coast so none of those large waves pushed into these areas. Now, these are series of waves as well, and that is something we saw along with our tide. So this was on top of our tide today. Our low tide just before this eruption happened in our area was at 1:30 a.m. Then we had our high tide at 8:05 a.m. and then 3:46 p.m. we started to see that low tide. Now currently we are in that high tide time, and we started that at 10:48 p.m. But again, the advisory has been canceled. I wanted to point this out. This is our high tide time. This is our low tide time. And then these are the tsunami waves that we are seeing. So this is actually put on place of the high and low tide here. Just to give you an example, this high point here, this was 2.3 feet, so just a little less than 2.5 feet there. This was at 7:58 a.m. Another little peak there we saw at that was over 2.5 feet, so 2.6 feet. That was at 8:57 a.m. And then some of the higher waves that we did see during that low tide there were around anywhere between real close to that 2 feet mark, but 1.29 feet That was about 2:32 p.m. And then we saw another one real close to the same height at 5:06. So again, as you can see from this graph, we are starting to see these swells waves start to decrease quite a bit, and that is why that advisory has since been lifted. Now, we did have a viewer call in, and they were asking how long it took for these waves to travel to our area. And just to give you an idea, this travel was about 5,000 plus miles from where we are. So the Tonga Trench here is where I'm taking this map, and it takes a while to get to our area, but we certainly did see it. So those waves traveled that far into our area. As we zoom in a little bit closer here, here's that 8-hour mark here. So that's about this right here. 8 hours, we go 9, 10. So it took about 10 and a half hours for those waves to reach our location, 10 and a half, give or take there. Again, some good news across the board. We are seeing that advisory has been canceled. We are still seeing it to the far north of us, just north of San Francisco. And again, it is to the south of us in San Luis Obispo County and further south into LA. But for us locally, we are no longer seeing that advisory. But again, use caution around the beaches, at least for the next 24 hours, I would say. Now, we're also tracking some sprinkles out there tonight. It's been somewhat of an eventful day. I will have more on that and your full forecast in just a bit.
Erica, thank you. And all the crashing waves will have a lingering impact, not just for people concerned that this will happen again, but for fishermen who won't be seeing fish for some time because of the thrashing waves. KIO and Scott Rates talked to some of those who had to put a pause on the fishing today.
And over here you can see the high water mark on the fence.
It was a startling sight Saturday morning.
It was really surgy in here, and the water rose really high. I was down underneath the shop, and I was wet up to past my ankles.
It was just rushing in super fast, coming up super high. 10 minutes later, it would drop tremendously, 5-6 feet.
From the rocking of the boats to the sounds of the masts ringing, the effects of the tsunami advisory could be seen all over the Monterey Peninsula, prompting officials to put up signs and shut down the beaches. The powerful 2 to 3 foot waves not stopping businesses as usual on the wharf.
Trips are starting to get out. We didn't get our 9 o'clock trip out, but we are going to go the rest of the day.
Good. And it's all safe to do that and everything else.
It's safe out in the ocean. Out in the ocean, it's beautiful.
As far as fishing,
if something bad like this happens, they won't bite for a few days after.
For fishermen like Michael Prichazella, this impacts his bottom line.
Financially, I don't know. It's you just take it day by day.
And it's not just fishermen feeling the financial hit.
Definitely less foot traffic.
Danielle Cavallero runs the Grill at Lovers Point in Pacific Grove. They've been here for 35 years. She's not happy seeing the beaches and parking lots closing on what should be a busy day.
I have employees. We have people to pay. This is just another bad thing that's going to happen.
And despite all of this, folks here on the peninsula won't forget this day for some time to come.
I've never seen it that high. My father's been a fisherman here since the 70s. Me about 20 years, and just never seen it rush in like that.
Reporting on the Monterey Peninsula in Monterey County, Scott Rates, KION, News Channel 546.
And speaking of the Monterey Peninsula, that wasn't the only place where waves came up. It also happened in CAL FIRE's CZU coverage area in San Mateo and Santa Cruz counties. Well, they had to help not one, but 2 fishermen who got swept into the water at San Gregorio State Beach. The fishermen were thankfully flown out for treatment, and they are expected to be okay. You can see right there on your screen a pretty intense sight. Well, this video was sent in from Kissity Gillen in Santa Cruz, near O'Neill's Lounge. You can see right there on your screen the waves thrashing up against the railing, taking normally very heavy garbage cans up and then tossing them. And people in boats in the Santa Cruz Harbor had to evacuate this morning as all that water started coming up, resulting in some people being trapped. KION's Victor Guzman has more on the effort.
It was just around 11 when Santa Cruz Harbor staff started opening up the harbor again. Everything was starting to calm down later after what was a frantic start to the morning for people who live there. Some who came to check out the aftermath of the rising water were still concerned about another wave surge.
You could hear the water, you could hear the docks as they're rising up their pilings and their poles, just kind of floating in the water. And it seems like it's going out again, so the surge is just going back and forth, back and forth.
Job and Kevin Antos were sleeping in their boat around 7:30 in the morning when Harbor Patrol started warning people about the potential for a big tsunami, forcing them to evacuate.
We also saw pieces of docks floating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
If you saw those, they're just like black, like plastic thing.
Yeah, black plastic floats. Look like giant Tupperwares floating through the water.
Overall, the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office said 30 to 40 people had to be evacuated. Kevin Antos says he assisted with that effort to get people out, but now at least some of them are back home and counting their blessings, each collecting their thoughts as to what happened.
It was an intense morning. Thank God it wasn't as severe as the previous tsunami. But yeah, as you can see, we had water all up in here, and it was probably at least a couple feet right here where we're standing.
When you're down here walking your dog, and all of a sudden the tsunami comes in, you're not paying attention. You know, keep an eye on the water no matter what.
In Santa Cruz, Victor Guzman, KION News Channel 546.
And you can see there on your screen, we do have a final look at some of the waves that came out of the Monterey Bay, specifically Marina State Beach earlier today. Now those waves stretching up very high this morning. Today being yet another reminder you never need to underestimate that water, especially as high tides roll in. And to sign up for breaking news alerts, be sure to go ahead and download our KION mobile app. We'll have updates on this and other stories as they develop. And King City Police have announced additional murder charges after a woman who was shot and killed in late December was found to be pregnant. Police also announced a third person has been arrested and charged with 3 counts of homicide in that incident. This all happened on Sussex Way and Wellington Avenue. And although they have 2 people in custody in connection to that crime, this individual is still on the run from police. Eleazar Ariano is believed to have shot and killed that woman. The woman's unborn child and yet another individual in that shooting. Well, he is considered armed, folks, and very dangerous. Police say anyone who has any sort of information on his whereabouts, you should contact that number on your screen. And on to your coronavirus coverage this evening as the CDC updates its guidance on masks, saying that now N95 masks are really the only way to go. Michael George has the latest this evening on those recommendations as Americans are scrambling to find home testing kits, and the White House prepares for more kits available online this week.
With the Omicron variant on the move, a new ban on large gatherings is in effect in Northern California's Sonoma County.
It's definitely a here we go again kind of feeling.
This does seem, the Omicron seems like it's going to be gone quickly. We just hope there's nothing behind it.
Experts like Ali Makdad of the University of Washington remain on alert for other COVID strains on the horizon. But for now, Omicron is crowding out the field.
Omicron is not allowing anything else to spread.
Meanwhile, the CDC is offering new guidance on masks that offer the best protection.
I know we all wish that we could finally be done with wearing masks. I get it. But they're a really important tool.
On its website, the CDC says loosely woven cloth masks provide the least protection, and well-fitting respirators, including N95s, offer the most. This Miami area company is operating 24/7 as it makes some 5 million masks a day.
We have the ability to take it from our production line and ship it within minutes. We don't have to import it from any other country.
And to combat long testing lines and a shortage of rapid test kits, the Biden administration is launching a website that will take orders for up to 4 per home at no cost. The site goes live on Wednesday, but the test could take more than a week to ship. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And still ahead this evening, Weather Authority Erica Brattine has a look at what we can expect with our weekend weather forecast and if some rain is headed our way. Plus, along with that, how a severe winter storm has certain areas of the country under a state of emergency. Stay tuned.
Get the app, get the alert. Know about severe weather in your area with the KION Weather Authority app.
Come explore your new Total Wine & More in Monterey and discover a wondrous selection of wines, spirits, and beers. Plus, totally low prices and friendly service from our expertly trained guides. With over 8,000 wines and over 4,000 spirits, you're sure to find your favorites and new ones you'll love. Plus, over 2,500 beers. You can even order online for in-store or curbside pickup. It's easy. So come explore your new Total Wine & More, now open in Monterey at Sand Dollar Center next to Costco. Drink responsibly, B21.
Replace your old, inefficient fireplace with an energy-efficient Fireplace Extraordinaire fireplace or insert. Save on heating bills, adding beauty and warmth to any living space. Visit your Fireplace Extraordinaire dealer today.
Available exclusively at Santa Cruz Fireplace and Hot Tub.
Action!